Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to our midweek self-discovery homework planner. Thank you for joining and for logging on for this homework planner. We love having you. We um, we welcome you, and so we're excited for this homework planner today. And I'm hoping that you can log on, interact, comment. Uh, Post questions, share experiences, and really just hop on and join into our community. If you prefer to just watch, I hope that there will be something beneficial for you that you can take away from this workshop and just use it really as a tool to help you on your journey of self-discovery. So, guys, before we get started, I'm just going to read the announcements. So if you could stick with me through that, and then we're going to just get going and jump into it. Okay, so the MyRehab Cafe private and unsearchable or secret Facebook group is the aftercare branch of the MyRehab Group of Dual Diagnosis Addiction Centers, formerly known as ARC. The MyRehab centers are private inpatient drug and alcohol rehab centers that offer high quality healthcare with high quality outcomes. The MyRehab Cafe Facebook group has exclusive access to loads of content that isn't available on the MyRehab public channels. Some of the content includes workshops, lectures, and support groups hosted in conjunctions with some of the treating providers at the MyRehab inpatient centers. These treating providers are psychologists, social workers, wellness counselors, and volunteers who have extensive experience in the field. Group members also participate in movie and book reviews and from time to time face-to-face events. If you are not a member of the MyRehab Cafe, you are likely watching this on a public channel. This means that you will have 10 to 20 minutes of access to this live broadcast before we switch over exclusively to the private and unsearchable MyRehab Cafe Facebook group. Remember to sign up and join the MyRehab Cafe, guys, as that's where all the interesting parts of the live videos happen. As I said yesterday, some very interesting conversation that happens in there, so please join us. MyRehab Cafe is free to any person that has been through the MyRehab inpatient process. If you have not been through the inpatient process, but you want to find out how to join the MyRehab Cafe, please check out the MyRehab Cafe website, which is www.myrehab.com. If you want to participate in this workshop, please join in via video or audio via the link in the comment section or leave a comment and I should be able to bring it on screen and I will do my best about answering any questions that you have. If you are a MyRehab Cafe member and you want a higher degree of anonymity and confidentiality, please wait for us to end this broadcast on the public channel before hopping on or posting. I will make an announcement when we are switching over. So with that, let's get started. Okay, guys, again, thank you for joining. A very warm welcome. As we mentioned in the announcement, we create these different platforms for people to join in, get resources, get support, build community, and just really come together in a place where you feel you are supported, and where we host different workshops and groups, really just creating a place for everybody. So thank you for joining, and we just look so forward to growing this community, and just making the most of it. So with that, we're going to jump into our homework question worksheet for today. So you're going to see the homework sheets appearing there. And the topic that we're going to be talking about today is working through shame. I've really been looking forward to this topic as I definitely think it's so applicable to so many journeys. And so I've really been looking forward to unpack this with you today, and to go through the questions and just see how we can navigate through them and help one another and support one another, and share tools and tips and thoughts and prompts and all those things that can help us work through a shame that we may be experiencing. Okay, so I'm just going to start by outlining. If you follow on with me there, you can read with me, and I'm just going to start outlining what shame is. Okay. So shame is thinking that as a person you are bad, inadequate, defective, unworthy, or less than other people. It results in feeling hopeless, helpless, and unable to change or succeed. Shame frequently accompanies addictive behavior. There's a difference though between guilt and shame. Guilt is a feeling that an action is unacceptable, but shame is feeling that we ourselves are unacceptable. So, guilt, I did something bad. Shame, I am bad. Okay. Um, okay, we can deal with guilt by correcting our actions, but shame is destructive because we can't change who we are. If left unresolved, this puts us at high risk of returning to drinking, using, or other addictive and self destructive behaviors. Shame convinces us that we can't get better and we don't deserve to feel better. This exercise will help you to identify and correct shame in your beliefs about yourself. You deserve to heal. Okay, guys. So I just want to touch on that before we jump into the questions. And so shame shame is not meant to be nurtured. Um, Instead, we can make alterations to this because we have no power to change the past. And so, what we are doing is we are moving towards self acceptance and taking steps to improve and navigate through the shame. As it was mentioned there, and I'm just going to touch on it again, guilt, when navigated through in a healthy way, can really guide a person's moral and help us to learn. So, for example, if I did something and I feel guilty and I learn from it and I decide that I'm not going to do it again based on what I've learned, um, that is navigating through guilt in a healthy manner. But shame is then changing that internal dialogue and narrative to now I am bad, I am worthless, um, and forming that in a dialogue of myself. So just touching on those things before we get started, really just defining the difference between shame and guilt, and how guilt can again be used as a learning tool as well. Um, okay, so with that, we're going to jump into the questions, and uh, and please feel free to join in, jump on, post comments, post experiences that can help others, and yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so if you look at question one, it's asking you to break down a column into two parts. So in the first column, please list some mistakes you have made and things you have done wrong as a result of alcohol or other drug use or other addictive patterns. So, like we suggested, and not only substance abuse, this could be linked to anything that is altering your perceptions and altering your relationships and having a negative impact on your life. So also just keep that in mind that we're not limiting it to just substance abuse. Okay, so in the first column, again, you want to write down things that you've done wrong as a result of alcohol or other addictive patterns. And then in the second column, list things you should have done but didn't do because these addictions interfered. So, column one, make mistakes and wrong actions. So, again, you could really think of your individualized and personal journey, and list the things that you have done wrong as a result of alcohol, drugs, or those other addictive patterns. So, for example, just a practical example I could give you is drinking and driving. Staying or just one more. It's just one drink. It's just one night. It's just one, um, and and in effect, the consequences of that could have been disastrous. We could have experienced car accidents, um, con- uh, co- uh, jail time, all kinds of consequences, and so those are the wrong actions that were as a result of drinking and using and whatnot. And the things that were not done in that moment was, well, going home, not using, not drinking, not participating, um, you know, preventing that from happening. So really just applying to your own individual journey, things that you can think about that you have done wrong, and things not done, um, on these two columns, and then just take some time to write it down, to take notes, and really just apply that to your personal journey. And like we say, writing is so beneficial, and it's really a good way to navigate through these worksheets and to use as tools to take with to therapy sessions and to monitor progress and patterns. So again, we encourage that when we're working through these worksheets, take notes, write it down, reflect on it later. Get in touch later with questions you may have afterwards or topics that you want to discuss, but really make the most of these worksheets and these questions so that we can open ourselves to an opportunity of building tools and skills and support and accountability and all of those kinds of things. Okay, so let's move on to question 2. What kind of shaming things do you say to yourself about these things that I've listed? So describe any thoughts in which you call yourself bad, weak, stupid, lazy, evil, or any other negative labels. So throughout my life, for example, I've many times said I'm a failure. I'll never achieve. A big one, is comparing ourselves to others. What are the consequences of that when we compare ourselves to others? Um, and what is the language that we use on ourselves? Is there a kinder way to speak to ourselves when we are labeling ourselves in this way? Um, do we look at the facts before we use this language on ourselves of and this internal dialogue of I'm a failure and I'm worthless? Do we look at the facts? Do we interpret those facts before we put these labels onto ourselves? So in other words, am I bad, or is the choice that I made poor or unfavorable or bad? Or did I do wrong, or am I a mistake? Those kind of internal dialogues and narratives that we put on ourselves. And so if we look at the facts of those, are there facts that kind of, back up this internal dialogue, or is it a case where these behaviors can be corrected? And when we correct them and when we navigate through them, then am I bad? So again, just really thinking about these internalized dialogues, because when we say I am, we are making a personified statement, about ourselves. So perhaps we could change that dialogue from I am to I did. So I did I did make a poor choice, but I am not a mistake. For example, when we say I am and when we label ourselves, we are reinforcing the shame. We are reinforcing the low self-esteem. We are reinforcing these feelings of failure and worthlessness. And what does that lead us to? What direction does that take us in? Further anxiety, depression, anger with ourselves. So again, we really want to look at how we are talking to ourselves, the things that we are saying to ourselves, the way that we are, the things that we are believing about ourselves, based on our dialogue. And just unpacking this question a little bit more, is to look at the possible contributions that have brought us to this place of this, this ultimate shame. And again, these are individual circumstances and individual journeys, and I kind of like can outline some of the common factors and the common experiences that I've experienced, or that I've seen. But again, it's coming back to your personal journey. So maybe see how you can apply that as we go through this. So yeah, to unpack that a bit further, different contributions towards the shame. Could it be, and this is an important one for me, is those cultural messages. In other words, those shoulds. So I should be this, I should be that, I should be here in my life. I should be there. I should be this successful in my career. I should be, a common one, mom guilt. I should be this kind of mom or that kind of mom, or I should be further than I am, or I should be a better wife, or I should be a better husband, or all these things of I shoulds. And my question is, who says? Who says we should be better? Who is where is this, like, this the standard and this expectation that we're holding ourselves to? How is that helping us on our journey? How does it affect us? So if I'm saying I should be here, I should be there, you know, my question is that then taking away from where I currently am? Um, or, or or should I say, is that then taking away from um, the successes that I currently have, or the things that I currently have to be grateful for, or the accomplishments that I already have, or am I using that energy thinking about the things that I should be, comparing myself to others? Um, is that really beneficial? Um, for my life. And I think that it's a really important thing to talk about, because it is something that I see a lot, is this comparison, um between each other, and in society, and these should have, could have, would have. And at the end of the day, is that helpful? Is that taking us closer to our goals and to our journey of purpose and fulfillment? I read something this morning. A colleague of mine posted. I read this quote, and it's I don't know who the author of the quote is, so I can't reference the author. But the quote said, two things that prevent us from happiness are living in the past and observing others. And I really found that so profound and so powerful. Um, because it really brings us to focusing on the present, what we have now, what we can do now, what we can correct now, what we can put in our paths to grow now, and um, to navigate ourselves now, instead of holding on to the things that we cannot change. And there was actually an interesting group about this on Monday nights. If you guys go back to that group with Bobby, um, about letting go. I think that also ties in nicely with this. So, again, just things to think about on that. Um, the second contribution is self-esteem. So failure, or perceiving that we failed at things, rejection, being rejected throughout our lives, attachment issues. So there we're really referring to, those first 2 years of birth, which teaches us, those first years when we're born, which teaches us about worth, love, distress. And so when that is interrupted, it has an effect through our lives, and that could result in shame, or self-esteem issues. And then the third one, I'm going to address on the MyRehab Cafe. So stick with me, guys. This is just going to get more and more interesting. And to everyone who was on the public channel, thank you for watching. Okay, so I think we crossed over quickly. I think my timing wasn't too great there, but nevertheless, here we are, and let's just keep it going. So we were busy looking at different contributions that we could apply um to to these intense feelings of